Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the MSMF Wealth Management Client Podcast. We still need a different name. For April 2023. Wanted to check in with everyone today, and we're going to do a little look behind the curtain of our tech tools here at MSMF, kind of the process we go through, as well as probably most importantly, the security of your data. And I'm joined, as always, by Cody Redding and Jay Peters. And we're going to just kind of walk through this. Let's maybe start with discussing the past of tech tools that have been around and tools that I used before you guys were maybe born. Wait, how old are you guys? How old are you?
37.
38.
Okay, you were born. You just didn't know what a financial tech tool or fintech was. So in the past, right, let's look back. Some of you have been clients with us long enough to know that the tools that we use were really computer software-based programs, right? They were relatively basic calculations with really little to no kind of eye-catching output. In fact, when I first got in the business, literally it was black and white screen. You know what a DOS operating system is?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay,
That's where we started.
Right. Pretty fundamental stuff, but for the time, it was great because you could literally do longer-term cash flow projections and try to get some kind of sense of what kind of path clients were on. But it was not interactive, so the clients didn't have the capability to access information. It was really very static. And to be fair, very minimal vetting on these tools, really from a regulatory and compliance perspective, and really kind of very fundamental, what I would say, data security. But to be fair, we didn't have nearly the number of bad actors out there then as we do now. And I know, Cody, you're going to get into this, but we certainly didn't have the capability to do video calls, texting, podcasts. Those things would come along, and I think, which you'll speak to, make the world a much simpler, way to communicate. But we didn't have any of that. And there were tools that we used that kind of started to break new ground, but it was pretty basic. And looking at that, I have that perspective that you guys don't quite have, although you know some of those tools we use. We've come a long way. And I think, and Jay, I know you're going to speak to this, but we're moving forward at what seems like a extremely rapid light speed pace, which we'll get to. But Cody, talk to us about, given that as a backdrop and the kind of the basics and fundamentals from days gone by when you guys weren't even in school yet. Jesus. Where are we today? What's the present look like as it relates to kind of our technology tools and data security?
Yeah, so the present for the technology we have now, we want to focus on the accessibility to you, the client, making sure that you have your own personal logins to go back and view the information that we talk about. Mm-hmm. Also, the level of security that goes along with that is also very important to us. So there is a actual pretty long vetting process to any new tool that we want to bring available to our clients. It does go through a regimen of tests, making sure that the encryption and behind the scenes is up to par to where it should be. A lot of the things that we focus on today are all web-based, right? So especially in the last couple of years where COVID kind of put this into the limelight of being able to do things like over Zoom, and financial planning software we have, eMoney. So everyone has their own login to get into that, and the accessibility, as we already talked about. AdviceWorks is a newer tool that we have available through our broker-dealer, which is basically an aggregator of all your accounts. So you don't have to, if you got an account at Charles Schwab or Pershing or American Funds, wherever it may be, you don't need to have a login for each separate one. You can actually go into one portal and view that, which is quite nice. A vault system for storing like reviews that we have. We always put those in there now. Your statements and your tax forms are all done. So things that make life a little bit easier for the integration of all the financials that you guys have. Also important to us, real-time update with stuff. So as maybe laws change in the future, tax laws, we want to make sure that the financial planning software that we have accounts for those changes. Mm-hmm. Another big thing we made available is that you guys are probably noticing a lot more would be my rep chat. So it allows us to be able to have a conversation through texting with you as clients, and we're able to record that for compliance reasons. So it makes that, that's an ever more popular thing until whatever comes next and replaces that.
Right.
But it's trying to keep up with an expanding technology that's growing really fast, and Jay's going to talk a lot about what the future holds and maybe some things that we're looking at in that space.
So let me ask you this, Cody. Where are we today in 2023 as it relates to data security?
Yeah, that's always number one on our mind, and that's why we have a vetting and compliance system through that. I'm sure a majority of you have had some accounts hacked at some point, or you go and file your taxes and find that someone already filed them for you. How nice of them. But yeah, in the background, it's all about the encryption of the data. There's different types of bit encryption out there, and making sure that if someone could get access to it, they wouldn't be able to put the data together. Right. Is number one. And that's why, there's all sorts of cool software and tools to use out there, but we also load your personal information into that, and we have to go through the vetting process to make sure that if someone could get the data, that they wouldn't know what to do with it.
Right. Yeah. So the encryption and the security, the amount of money that gets spent on that in 2023, just within our ecosystem at Cetera, is immense. And I don't really think it's ever going away. Mm-hmm. I think it's probably going to double down, just because radar detector. They're always looking to try to get access to it, and I'm very comfortable with where our systems are today. But Jay, there's a lot happening looking down the road. Talk to us a little bit about how things you think are going to evolve in the future.
Sure. So I really enjoy the technology part of our business. It's kind of my hobby and passion anyway. So when I'm looking at this, one of the things that really excites me about all of this is the pace of change and how quickly someone has an idea. They go out and they figure out how to program it, and they come back and bring that idea to market. I mean, it used to take years and years in research and all kinds of stuff. Now you can do that in sometimes months and sometimes even weeks. So that's really exciting, because when someone has a good idea, they can bring it to everybody and everybody else can share it too. Mm-hmm. But to the vetting process, it's important that we do have a good process in place. Cetera does a great job of helping us out. We have our own internal process, mm-hmm. but Cetera even goes above and beyond with that to make sure it's not just some guy in his garage, kind of running a website kind of a thing. Because it may be the best idea, but if your information's not safe, that tool's not worth it to us. Right. So that's something that's super important for us. And some of the changes that it allows is a lot more collaboration. So you were talking about what the past used to be like. You mentioned it was static. Mm-hmm. You have to ask ahead of time for the client's information and put it in there and hope it's right, and sit down in front of a client, and then something changed, and now none of these numbers make sense or matter anymore. Right. Well, now we get real-time updates that we can do sitting down with our clients and running cash flow projections, and that's only going to get better and better and allow more and more opportunity to work together on different plans and different strategies. So that's another thing that's super exciting about this. Obviously, and you already mentioned the analogy of the radar and radar detector. Mm-hmm. We have to keep increasing our security around that as well. So technology is going to make that better and better, which is exciting, because that allows us more access to more tools. And one of the things that is kind of a double-edged sword for that is going to be AI. It's super powerful, and you hear all these different things that people are doing with them. That's really cool. But on the same time, I just saw a graphic, and we passed it around the office, about around what your password is and the length of your password, and using AI, how quickly they could break that password and find it. In which case, that's really scary. That's the scary side of the AI, right? So we need to kind of learn more about what the future is going to hold, but that powerful technology, I think, can do a lot of good if it's put in the hands of good people too. So I think that's only going to make our retirement projections, for example, that much more meaningful, and our interactions of trying to put together those plans a lot more seamless for the client. So I'm excited to see where that goes. That's really it. So looking ahead, I think it's going to really improve how we work and sit down with our clients to really just make the experience better and better as we go.
Yeah, excellent. And I would say right now, today, we have a variety of tools already in the present that allow a lot of collaboration with clients. The client interface is much more attractive and user-friendly than when we started to get client access in the past. And one of those, Cody, I know that we're in the process of kind of rolling this out across our entire client base, but talk to me a little bit about this Riskalyze tool that we use right now.
Yeah, so Riskalyze has been around for a bit. It takes the, what we say our risk tolerance questionnaire to kind of judge your appetite for equity and bond exposure. It takes it a little step further in that it's a interactive, dynamic questionnaire. So depending on how you answer one question will determine what question you get next. So it certainly has more of a custom aspect to it than just a questionnaire that has 8 or 10 questions on it. And the integration that it has with our financial planning tool called eMoney. There's even Morningstar that feeds into that as well. So I think as time goes on, you'll see a lot more seamless integration where you get live time feeds and everything kind of works and talks to each other and moves with that. So Riskalyze is a cool tool. It kind of explains your your risk and a speed limit per se.
Okay.
And let's say that you like to drive the speed limit at 60 miles per hour, but your portfolio comes in with a score of 70, and it kind of gives us a side-by-side comparison on what do we need to do to get back down to that speed limit, or vice versa, what do we need to do to go a little bit faster in that lane. And it's a cool interactive visual display that we can talk about, showing your current portfolio to what your actual appetite for risk is.
Right. Cool. Yeah, and we like it, and we're in the process of rolling it out, and I think the whole concept of risk speed limit is easy for everyone to understand that.
Yeah.
Right? And there are tools out there, as we know, and Jay, I know you got your finger on a lot of them, that they're cool, but they're so complicated. They're almost useless in a client meeting because you really have to be in this business every day studying it to understand some of the outputs. So that's a big deal. One of the tools that we're using, relatively new, that's not like that Cody referenced, is AdviceWorks. So tell me a little bit about how you're using it with your clients and how you see the value as that being one of the tools that MSMF uses.
Yeah, and I don't want to say too much of what Cody said because he gave a pretty good overview, but that's where we can place review documents after we meet with our clients. It's where you can access your tax statements. You can see all of your accounts together. But then the other part of it is Cetera is going to continue to improve that. Right. They've already laid out a roadmap of we're going to improve this, we're going to add this, and it's going back to that collaboration with our clients, so where we can help share information back and forth and just improve that relationship and improve the projections that we're making and make them more accurate. So I'm excited to see that. I've also been invited to be on the board or a panel, not a board, of giving feedback for what should come next. So if you have any ideas that you'd like to see, let me know.
Cool.
I'll get it in the right hands. So other than that, I mean, it does a great job. It does some budgeting capabilities as well and some financial planning like cash flow capabilities as well. So right. I'm excited to see them keep improving AdviceWorks.
Yeah, it's as a central hub, it's really rounding into something very cool and very useful with clients. Lastly, Cody, you mentioned eMoney, which is probably the third, I'll call it primary tech tool that we use. And eMoney we use a lot for the detailed cash flow projections, which you guys know, particularly when we get to like go, no-go decisions for retirement, that type of scenario. Sometimes we have it up front and kind of in the meeting with clients. Sometimes it just operates in the background for us to discuss with clients at meetings. But again, it's kind of those three tools. Riskalyze, that starting point with the risk speed limit, AdviceWorks being the central hub, and then a kind of a data grinder in eMoney, mostly in the background. So again, I think our suite of tools today is fantastic, but we also we're looking to expand those tools. And I would say that from my perspective, it's been a lot easier to keep our finger on the pulse of where these tech tools are in the industry since you guys have come on board, since Chris and Craig, who are behind the board, are on board, because there's more eyes on the prize. And you guys like doing that, so it's easy. Then I say, Jay, what are you seeing? What do you like? And then we all talk about it. We get the demos. We talk to the home office and compliance. So that has really helped me, and in turn helped our clients. So, and Jay, I'll start with you. What do you think the future of the tech tools at MSMF looks like?
So one of the things, excuse me, that we're really looking at is, e-money is great for those really complicated projections, but maybe a more visual tool to kind of show some of the same data of what I have, where is it, how am I invested, all those different big financial blueprint pictures. We're looking into some technology to see if that makes sense for us. Mm-hmm. Another technology we're checking out, it actually uses AI behind the scenes to help with some of the conversations that we have often, kind of automate that process and make it structured across all of the MSMF. We're looking at something for that. And then another one is, a lot of questions that we get are around big picture tax planning. Now, we don't do, tax returns. We are not accountants, anything like that. So always check with a professional. But we do answer a lot of questions. A lot of our decisions impact taxes. And so we're looking at some technology to help answer some of those questions too. So those are kind of three that we're in the immediate future looking at. And how that kind of affects everybody. So that's where we're at today.
Super. Cody, what do you think? What's your take on because you're involved with this as much as Jay is, what's the tech suite at MSMF look like moving forward?
Yeah, I think Jay hit the three that we're looking at really closely on integrating into as other tools for our clients to have. I do see it at some point as being kind of you go to AdviceWorks and hopefully it's like a seamless interface to where there's single sign-on options and you just go to one place, click on the little icon you want to go to, and boom, you're automatically there. Again, everything talking with each other. They call it like the Internet of Things. I think that's going to be some term that we hear a lot more around here.
Al Gore. That, right? Sorry.
So
he can't help himself.
The capabilities and where I see in the future and having a lot more real-time contact with you as the clients and being able to provide, I think, a lot of cool real-time data to where we don't have to wait for meetings here or there. We can plug some stuff in real quick and we can kind of see what that looks like for the future of our clients. So I'm excited to see where all this takes us.
Yeah, and I'm with both of you guys. I'm excited too because it's really all about improving our clients' experience with our firm, with seeing what's going on with their money, with their financial blueprint, where they're headed. And we've gone through several phases in this business, even just since you guys have been in the business, where you needed compliance to catch up with the rapid pace of change. And I think we're blessed with Cetera because they are on top of this and have a full team of people vetting all of these things from a security perspective and all the things we talked about simultaneously while we're looking at them. So it's a good situation, and I can tell our clients it's only going to improve in terms of your experience from a technology perspective. You guys are perfection personified, so I don't know how the relationship part could improve, but we're working on that too. So again, stay tuned. We're excited about where we are, but we're really excited about where we're going from the tech lineup that we have for everyone to improve the client experience. And I appreciate you guys joining me. And the Blues are officially out of the playoff hunt, so now we can turn our full attention to the Cardinals. And what I would say in closing, if you ever want to know what goes on before we start these podcasts, you should ask us when we're here in the office sometime, because we have some funny stories for you. All designed to put us in the right mood to record the podcast. But anyway, you got any questions on the tech suite, where we're at, where we're going? Some of these tools, maybe we haven't introduced them to you yet. Please reach out to us. All these tools are coming for everyone, but please let us know. Call us the old-fashioned way. Use the text line. Shoot an email. Feel free to pass this on to any of your friends and family if they're not feeling like they got much of a great experience with their current situation and they would like to explore an alternative. And we absolutely will see you next month.